Okay, y'all, today we are going to talk about dividing and square roots. So we're going to kind of just build off of what we did last time on Monday. So I can title this one Dividing and Square Roots. Okay. So let's do an example. Let's say I had something look like this. The square root of 3 over the square root of 48. Okay. Well, the square root of 3 cannot be broken down any more than the square root of 3. But the square root of 48 can be broken down. Okay. It can be broken down into 16 times square root of 3. It's 3 and 16. It can be broken up into 3 and 16. Now, what does that do? Well, it does some very, very useful things. Well, if you notice, I have the square root of 3 on top and the square root of 3 on bottom. So if I have the same thing top and bottom, and there's multiplication down there on the bottom, and I'm dividing, these two things reduce. So they're no longer there. It's just a 1. So I have a 1 left on top, and on bottom I have the square root of 16 left. Now, what is the square root of 16? Well, square root of 16 is the same thing as 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. So square root of 16 is 4. So your final answer is 1/4. Okay. All right, let's do another one. I think I'm going to do a total of, let's do 4 today. And these are all off of your homework assignment, by the way. Square root of 20 over square root of 5. Well, square root of 5 on bottom cannot be broken apart any more than just the square root of 5. Square root of 20, well, it can be broken up into the square root of 5 times the square root of 4, because 5 times 4 is 20, right? Now, what do you notice? Top and bottom, what do I have in common? Square root of 5. So they match up, they pair up, and it reduces down to 1 because you got a pair. Now, all I'm left with is the square root of 4. Technically over 1, but you don't need the over 1 part. Okay? And what is the square root of 4? Well, the square root of 4 is 2 times 2, so that means the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Let's bump it up a notch. Let's say we have 2 square root 3 over 4 square root 27. Okay. Well, 2 square roots of 3 on top can't reduce any more than just the 2 square roots of 3. So we have 2 square root of 3 on top. And on bottom, we can break up the square root of 27 into the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. Now, what do you notice you have in common on top and bottom? The square root of 3. So what are you left with? Well, you're left with 2 over 4 square roots of 9. And what is the square root of 9? Well, the square root of 9 is 3. So you have 2 over 4 times 3. Okay, take it a step further. What is 4 times 3? 12. Now reduce the fraction. You can divide top and bottom by 2 because they have a 2 in common. So you're left with a 1 over 6. That's your final answer. All right, let's do one more, and we'll call it good. Let's say we had 4 square root 6 over 4 square root 27. Well, right off the bat, what do they have in common on top and bottom? A 4. So those two have a pair. They match up, so it goes to 1. And what are you left with? You're left with the square root of 6 over the square root of 27. Well, the square root of 6 can be broken up into the square root of 3 times the square root of 2. And on the bottom, the square root 27, just like we did up top here, right in the previous problem, right here, square root of 27 was the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. So I can replace the square root of 27 with the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. And right off the bat, again, what do you notice that they have in common, top and bottom? Square root of 3. So what does that leave you with? Well, that leaves you with the square root of 2 on top, and on bottom you're left with the square root of 9. Now what is the square root of 2? Well, the square root of 2 is just the square root of 2. And what is the square root of 9? Well, the square root of 9 is 3. You're all done. Okay? If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below or on Google Classroom. Hope this video makes sense to you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.